so much. And this next lady, I've known her for 4 years, and every year that I've known her, she's been the greatest ally. And she's the woman of the cloth who can tell us exactly where we fit, because she knows the Bible passages and everything that let us know that we belong here too. I'd like to introduce the Reverend Dr. Kathy Martin.
Thank you. I need to take you everywhere I go so you can introduce me. I appreciate that. I'm not going to keep you long because I know some books are starting to get cold. And people say preachers talk for a long time, but I'm going to prove them wrong. But being a preacher, I do have to take a text because there's a word in the book of Jeremiah. When Jeremiah didn't know who he quite was, and God said to Jeremiah, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you to be a prophet to the nations." Well, tonight, I don't know about you, but I believe that we are standing here to celebrate prophets. We're standing here to celebrate people who knew they were bold enough and knew themselves enough to be in touch with who they were as God created them, heart, soul, and spirit. Who were bold enough to say that it doesn't matter externally what you think you see. I know who I am on the inside. And some of us have the courage to say, I'm going to fix it so I can be totally who I am. And that takes courage. I don't know about you, but every time I come out here to stand with my transgender brothers and sisters, I say to myself, I want to have that kind of courage. I want to have that kind of strength. So tonight we stand here with prophets who intentionally or unintentionally were not afraid to stand. We're up here to celebrate prophets who knew that, well, first of all, let me talk about all you. Y'all are prophets. All right. You all were prophetic enough to stand up. You're prophetic enough to stand with people who others are afraid to stand with. You are prophetic enough to stand up for yourself. You are prophetic enough to say to the city, I don't care what you think. I'm going to do what God created me to do. Whether we're an ally or whether we're transgender, we're here because we believe in the humanity of all people. We're here because we know God created us all equal. We're here because we know that we're all entitled to the same rights of humanity as anybody else, and so we came here to stand in solidarity. You know, I'm not even on my talk points anymore. I had them. But you know what? I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk what's here. But what I want to talk about is that we live in a city and we live in a world that doesn't really like justice. Because too long, people who have not believed in justice have been in control. But we understand, and I'm not saying that everybody here is Christian, I'm not saying everybody here believes in God, but there is a spirit of love in the world that tells us to stand up. It's inside of us. And it's that same spirit of love. Oh, where am I going with this? It's the same spirit of love that tells people, I'm going to stand up and be who I am. I don't give a damn what you say. I'm just going to care about what God says I am. So my brothers and sisters, I want to tell you that I'm not transgender, but I'm a human being just like everybody else is. And I pray to God that I would have the kind of courage that my brothers and sisters who have gone through these issues, these deaths and these murders, and those who stand today and say, I'm going to be who I am no matter what the hell you say. Excuse me for cussing. But some stuff just makes me mad. Some stuff makes me mad, and yes, I am human. I won't show you all my humanity out here, but amen. But I just want you to know, I understand that God knows us. And like God said to the prophet Isaiah, I knew you before the outward part was formed. I know who you are even now. So my brothers and my sisters, I challenge all of us to be the type of prophet we were called to be, to speak for justice, to stand for truth, and not to be afraid to say, I don't care what anybody says, I'm going to be on the right side. And the right side is the side of love. And if one of my brothers or sisters is being hurt, I'm going to stand with them. If one of my brothers or sisters can't speak for themselves, I'm going to speak for them. If one of my brothers and sisters has been killed, that's okay. I'm going to stand in their place and I'm going to do their work. Because the work doesn't end with those who have gone before us. They did the groundwork. My mouth is too cold. But they did the groundwork for what we're supposed to do now. I say to you, everybody in here, those who are transgender, and I believe all of us are on some level, and all of us are called. Speak about love. Embrace your brother or sister. Speak about truth. Don't be afraid. Follow the example of these who were able to stand and say, I'm going to be me. These prophetic people who spoke about love and loved one another and loved themselves enough to be who they were. Thank you for giving me a little bit of time, and huddle up. Act like you love each other.
I told you I should give you a passage, didn't I? I told you to give you a passage because she know all of them.